Tonight we were out feeding, and for those of you who don't know me, I cook for Open Doors Family Promise Emergency Shelter, and I see houseless children every day. I know Family Promise is an amazing program and the children are safe and on their way to housing. I see those children and it makes me sad that we have so many families struggling. But tonight when I was feeding, I ran into a family in a car. When I walked to the window, this little angel popped up her head. She said to me, "Ma'am, may I have a sandwich? I'm very hungry." I smiled at her and gave her the whole bag. I told her I'd be back, and as I walked away, I couldn't stop the tears. My heart broke for this beautiful, dirty-faced child. I saw the shame of the parents, and my heart broke for them as well. When I came back, after I composed myself, the mom gave me a hug with tears pouring down her face. I gave her my card and assured her that if all the food we gathered ran out, to call me and I would bring more. I touched that little girl's hand and I wanted to scream, "I see you and I care." The little girl's face can't be unseen. I cannot get her off my heart and off my mind. I want to hug her, to take off all my clothes and give them to her. I don't care what she needs, I'll find it. I want to see that child smile. It only took a sandwich and some cookies, and she smiled at me, and I knew I'd be seeing her a lot. I need her to know that I care, that I can't walk past her and not notice. Tonight I've gone over every reason that I do this. The heartbreak is real and brutal. I cry myself to sleep a lot over other struggles, but sometimes it's almost breathtaking. I feel like I can't breathe, and sadness, my old friend, comes to visit. I have to remember why I do this. Without people who help without judgment, there can't be a good outcome. This mom had nothing left to hope for, nothing left to believe in. And tonight, I was the person that let her know that there are people out there who see you and who care.
You know, a dream is like a river, ever changing as it flows. And the dream is just a vessel that must follow where it goes. Beautiful lyrics, beautiful music by my favorite theologian, Garth Brooks. The river Garth Brooks sings about is a river of dreams, but the river we need to look at is a little different. It's a river of homelessness, a river of homeless men, women, and children that flows like a subterranean river just beneath the surface of our community. For the most part, it flows out of sight through the alleys and parks and homeless shelters of our city. You and I only get occasional glimpses of it, the panhandler on the street corner, holding up a sign, the person sleeping in a doorway of a downtown business, the handful of people living out of a backpack and hanging out at a local Starbucks, the occasional person pushing their worldly belongings in a shopping cart. You've seen them, but there's more that you and I don't see. Like the more than 3,000 homeless school students couch surfing with friends, it's called being doubled up. Or the recently homeless family trying hard not to be conspicuous as they sleep in their car in the local park. This river also includes the 7,000 people who showed up at the Spokane Veterans Arena on a Tuesday in November to pick up a free Thanksgiving meal. They're part of this river too. You see, they're what's happening upstream. But we as a community haven't made the connection yet that those struggling families may prove to be the upstream reservoir of tomorrow's street homeless. Ever ask yourself just how wide and deep this river of homelessness might be? Just how many people are we talking about? As part of this documentary, we wanted to take a fresh look at the number of homeless in our larger community. But we were immediately confronted with a problem. You see, how we define homelessness determines how many homeless people we count. For example, the annual point-in-time count, sponsored and required by the Department of Housing and Urban Development, defines homelessness in narrow terms of sheltered and unsheltered. In other words, you're homeless if you're staying in a homeless shelter or transitional housing, or if you're unsheltered and sleeping under a bridge somewhere. But under the McKinney-Vento Act, which tracks homeless school students, the Department of Education defines homelessness as not living in your own permanent residence, including being doubled up or couch surfing with family or friends.
I think the biggest piece of it that I would like others to understand about families that at least that I work with is these aren't the families that we think of, oh, they're out on the streets, they're sleeping under a bridge. These are families that are doubled up, staying, 3 generations in a family because they don't have someplace else, or they're staying with friends that maybe they just met last month, and which puts themselves and their kids at risk because they don't know them well enough, they don't know their background, they don't know what's going on, but it's better than sleeping on the streets. These aren't the traditional, what we think of as the homeless population. These are families with kids that are walking their kids to school every day, that are coming to parent-teacher conferences, that are, hanging out and picking up their kids after school. They might be standing next to you and you don't know that they're struggling.
Let's illustrate this from the Spokane Valley. The 2019 point-in-time count showed only 30 homeless individuals in the Spokane Valley. But according to the McKinney-Vento homeless liaisons, whose job it is to track these things, Spokane Valley school districts reported 819 homeless students during the 2018-2019 school year. When we add in family members, those 819 students become more than 1,200 individuals experiencing homelessness in the Spokane Valley. And any way you do the math, 30 homeless individuals in the Spokane Valley represents a serious undercount on the order of 1 in 40. And the difference is the definitions of homelessness used by 2 official counts. And what's happening in the Spokane Valley among homeless students and their families is happening in school districts all across our community. As we began developing this documentary, we asked local homeless shelters, along with the City of Spokane Community Housing and Homeless Services Department, to provide us with their unduplicated numbers of people who passed through the shelter systems of the city during each of 3 years, 2016, 2017, and 2018. By unduplicated, we mean that we're making a serious effort not to inflate the numbers by counting the same people multiple times. And trust me, an accurate unduplicated count is a bigger challenge than you might think. Next, we included numbers for local area school students also experiencing homelessness, as tracked by school districts and reported to the Washington State Office of the Superintendent of Public Instruction. We also made allowances for their families. After all, if the kids are homeless, chances are pretty good that the whole family is homeless. Finally, we compared our revised numbers with those recorded by each year's official point-in-time count. The results caught our attention. For 2016, our numbers showed a total of 11,832 individuals experiencing homelessness in Greater Spokane. But the point-in-time count for that year recorded only 981, or about 8% of our numbers. For 2017, our numbers showed 11,471, while the point-in-time count recorded only 1,090. For 2018, our numbers were 11,319 against a point-in-time count of 1,245. When we averaged our annual totals into a 3-year average, we found a 3-year average of 11,541 individuals experiencing homelessness against a point-in-time count of 1,105. Here's the disturbing takeaway. In an average year, we officially count roughly 1 in 10 people experiencing homelessness in the greater Spokane area. Now, these numbers suggest a compelling reason why we're having such a difficult time moving the needle when it comes to meaningfully addressing homelessness in our community. The issue is much larger than we understand. And these larger numbers quite possibly represent the upstream source of future street homelessness. The numbers strongly argue that homelessness is a large subterranean river that flows through our community, and caught up in this river of homelessness like human flotsam are the moms, dads, and kids, all experiencing homelessness as a family. Welcome to the hidden homeless.